Well, Angelina, we were just talking before I set up this camera, and I was just saying you have such an amazing story. I was hoping that we could capture that story again by just talking it out with how did you end up with this thing called neuropathy?
I believe that it started with a change in my medication.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same prescription, went for a refill, and for unknown reasons it was a different manufacturer, but I had a horrible reaction.
Yeah,
I would say it was an allergic
I think you're
reaction.
right.
Told my doctor, and because I'd been on it for 2 years without a problem, she changed it, she tweaked it,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the same reaction, only a little worse. And she sent me to other doctors, even a cardiologist. Every doctor just tried to change
The
something about
dosage or
it,
when you take it
or
or
it
mm-hmm.
was amlodipine benzoate, and so they changed either
Yeah.
the first part or they changed the second
Yeah.
part. Not so much the dose, but
The compounding of it.
yeah.
What did it feel like to you, these reactions? This is so important for people to hear.
It made me really dizzy.
Okay.
My heart pounded. My hands would get really like hypertonic.
That means they were like really tight.
tense,
You just couldn't.
tight.
Wow.
My mouth would get really, my jaw would get really
Whoa.
tight.
Yeah.
Of course, my anxiety, would go up through the roof because
Wow.
it felt like I was going to have a heart attack.
I would
And
understand that. Yeah.
And I begged the doctors, to help me to get it out of my system, to
Yes.
detox.
Yes.
And they acted as if I never said that question.
Right. We don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they didn't want to
Yeah.
hear anything about that. Instead, they would try me on a different family of medications
Mm-hmm.
until it got to the point where it had been several months and I felt like I wasn't gonna, live for another year, because I kept ending up in the ER.
Wow.
The worst time of my day for my blood pressure was directly within a moment, within a minute of taking it, I would have all
Wow.
these reactions.
Yeah.
And the best time of my day was always before I took it.
When it was mostly out of your system.
And I explained that to them, and they would just want to change,
Gosh.
tweak the medications
Yeah.
more, until finally I decided I was going to have to take it into my own hands,
Mm-hmm.
that nobody was going to help me to get rid of the inflammation because it got to the point where at this time I was supposed to be taking thyroid medication every day.
Mm-hmm.
I have asthma that's triggered by allergies.
Okay.
And it was getting to be where it was going to be springtime, and that's when my allergies kick in.
Yes.
And then my asthma would kick in. And when I finally decided I was going to have to take matters into my own hands, I wasn't able to take my thyroid medicine. I wasn't able to take allergy medicine, asthma, my inhaler. I couldn't even take ibuprofen, couldn't have sugar, couldn't have caffeine.
Whoa.
Because all of them was then causing the same reaction.
Right.
My body was so inflamed
Right.
that I was reacting to everything. I was just
Yes.
hypersensitive.
Wow.
My hand, I used to have super big muscles, like
Yeah.
very large, strong muscles in my thumbs,
Mm-hmm.
because I milked cows for 7 years.
Okay. Whoa.
So even, 10 years after I was done milking cows, and
Mhm.
hadn't milked them for many years, I still had large muscles.
Mm-hmm.
But my thumb muscles had completely atrophied, and I had the neuropathy,
Yeah.
where I had tingling in my middle finger and my thumb, 24 hours a day, 7 days a
And
week.
mostly on your dominant side, on your right side.
Only.
Okay.
Like,
Only
I
on the
only
right side.
felt it on
So I
my
remember you
right
telling
side.
me you had to switch
I switched
your
hands,
your
and then
dominant.
I ended up, so I had to use my left hand as my dominant hand.
Yeah.
And especially for fine motor control,
Right.
which normally I would think my left hand was pretty crappy with
Yeah.
fine motor control.
I'm not trained on that.
Right. To think that was better, was my stronger hand, and
Mhm.
it had more control. My dexterity, my coordination with my right hand was just terrible. My strength with my right hand was terrible. I went on the anti-inflammatory diet, and it helped me greatly. And until I was able to take all those other medications, never have gone back on the blood pressure medication. And I've never been as high as I was when I was on the medication.
Wow.
And being with you guys, being on this anti-inflammatory diet has helped tremendously. But I think it's the therapies that have really made it so that I'm now seeing improvement. Good. So now I'm able to use my right hand.
Right.
I can use it to do buttons. It seems like a simple thing, but I couldn't do this before.
Totally.
I couldn't do this. I couldn't
put a
snap.
button on, zippers, snap. I remember even holding things like, was it coffee cups or?
I was dropping things, and my husband and my son were having to open everything for me and do clasps and whatnot for me. And
I really appreciate you sharing with us because, as we can tell, you're on the much younger side as our average neuropathy patient is. They're usually in their 60s or 70s because they've had conditions like either chemotherapy or diabetes that takes a while to do some damage. But at a younger age, it's so important to know that medications, they all have side effects. And this doesn't even sound like a side effect. This is an allergic reaction to it. But so this is really important for somebody else to hear that. We might be able to save a life. Maybe somebody doesn't even need to come in here. They watch this video and say, let me check my meds. Maybe I'm having. So for those of you who are watching, we should make sure we go over these medication changes with your doctor. I just want to say that. But Angelina, if you could fast forward about 90 days, you were telling me off the record you're feeling a lot better. I think you said 70% better.
Yeah.
So a lot better. So fast forwarding, you're now able to open up things. You got your dexterity. You can put your fingers together. You can button things. What other things have you noticed with your hand coming back?
I can do jewelry, like necklace clasps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have a farm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not milking cows,
but I
have chickens and turkeys
and
whatnot. And I'm able to do a lot more of that without having to ask my son to do it for me. I like to be independent with things. I appreciate the help of my son and my husband.
Yeah. But
I like to do things on my own.
Who doesn't? We all like our independence. Nice to be able to hand off to someone, but it's also nice to know that you could do it, but you could hand off. It's nice
if they want to help.
Yes.
But I don't want to have to rely on their help.
100%.
I was truly wondering how long I was going to be able to do, the farm life. And now I see, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm almost there.
Yes.
And I feel like, I can continue on with the farm indefinitely. So
it's great.
Yeah.
I think what's a surprise to you, with your permission, what I want to do is show the viewer, but also you at the same time, how bad the neuropathy was when we started, and in 3 months, how far we've come.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I would love to
All right.
see that.
So here we go. So if we go here to your objective, I put in here when we originally came in 3 months ago, we were finding 23% damage to the left foot nerves, 23 on the right foot, 20 at the left hand, and ironically 17 on the left. No, that's correct. 17 on the right hand, and was less damage than what we found on the other side.
Crazy, because that's where I felt all the damage.
Yeah, but those were the numbers that we found. That's where we started. We put you on the therapies. We had to kind of adjust it because your body was so sensitive that we couldn't do the therapies once, let alone twice a day. Yeah. Some of the supplements your body was reacting to. So we realized this is not a cookie cutter approach. And for you, we kind of had to really back off a lot of things and just take it a lot slower. But look at how amazing your body is. Doctors say that you have neuropathy. There's nothing you can do. Apparently, your body didn't get the message. Because look at this. You now have 2% damage on the left foot, 2 on the right foot, and 5% on the left hand, 5 on the right hand. And just for you to know and the audience to know, at 5%, I'm actually not worried about it. It's something that I'm going to sit down with you and make recommendations, and I'm going to tell you that, like, it's fine for the audience to hear this as well, but the level of damage that you had was moderate. It wasn't even way up in the severe, but moderate damage led to this many symptoms. I would have hated to thought if it got worse into severe damage, you just wouldn't be able to function.
Right.
But we did say early on that at the moderate range, we have the ability to restore normal nerve function, but it can take 9 to 12 months. So here we are 3 months into it. I'm going to continue to encourage you to keep up the good work. We can start looking at the diet, maybe even adding in a few other things. We can start bringing some fun back into your life as well. The therapies we can absolutely cut down. We might even do once or twice a week. But I really want you to start cutting things back. I don't want you to rely on doctors, medications, and that includes me. I'm in that list too. Your dentist should be in that list. We should be brushing and flossing and taking care of ourselves and not eating sugar and stuff like that. And then visiting the dentist twice a year just to check to make sure that nothing's getting out of hand. That's the way I want you to see your medical doctors. I want to help get you there. So you're just in for checkups. I don't want to hear you on any medications. Maybe you need to be on the thyroid, all right? But if our goal is 0 and we get you to 3, that would be better than where you were. Right? And then so relying on doctors less and less. And I think that there's a lesson here as well. Like when you said early on, I was begging my doctors to look at my blood pressure, to medication, to take me off it or whatever. And the lesson I hope you get out of this and that you get out of this is remember that your doctors, me included, we work for you. You shouldn't have to beg your employee to do stuff. You hire us to fix a deck, we should fix the deck. If we don't, you don't have to beg me to fix the deck. You're paying me for that. You don't have to beg me to take you off the rebuilder or try something else. You should say, hey, this is what I'm feeling with that rebuilder, just like you did with me. When I take that supplement, it makes me feel, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm reacting to it. Okay, well, let's work together to try and figure this thing out. And we backed way down on some things so your body could acclimate. I just want to say your doctors and me, we're just guys with opinions, but we work for you. So in your mind, I want you guys to turn it around and think you're the boss, we're the employees, okay? But we work for you. And if we're not getting the job done, then you need to hire someone else. Meaning you need to fire your doctor. If your doctor isn't getting you to the goals that you're wanting, that's called you need to look for another doctor.
I've learned that.
Good.
This for sure.
Good. That might be one of the most important lessons. And then the other one that I think you got even before meeting me, because you said, I just realized I'm gonna have to take this into my own hands.
Yeah. It's
your health, your husband's and your kids, that's what you're responsible for. And then you hire out other people like contractors who are subspecialized in a few things for our opinions. But yeah, it's really your health. So one last thing, a lot of people, even ones who are watching this video now, are skeptical that you can actually do anything for neuropathy because their doctors will say you have neuropathy, there's nothing you can do. Then they get this video, they get a Facebook ad, or they get something like there's some doc over here, he thinks he can do neuropathy. Nobody else says anything can be done. For somebody who's skeptical about a program like this, what would you have to say to them?
I was skeptical too.
Okay.
The only reason I called you guys is because it seemed like you guys were going and trying things naturally. And I'd learned through all this that I needed to go the natural way. And it was something different that no other doctor had tried with me. Because this happened 3 years ago. So for 3 years, I've had, horrible use of my dominant hand. I would definitely say that you are what you eat. So the anti-inflammatory diet, starting there is the most important, and people can do that even at home.
You're right.
And then the therapies are what totally gave me hope that once I started doing the therapies and started feeling things and seeing change pretty quickly, that's what gave me the hope that this actually could work. So when I first started, I was hopeful, but I wasn't sure. I was very doubtful too.
Skeptically optimistic.
Now I'm definitely positive that I'm going to come through the other end.
Good. You are. You are. And I'll just let this run here for just 1 second, but you are doing so well. And like I said off the camera though, if we just let things go back to how they were, if you get off that anti-inflammatory diet, Obviously, if you go back to amlodipine or other medications like that, it's going to bring all of this back. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for this testimonial and allowing us to share your story with others.
Yeah. I've already been talking it up, even though I don't know anyone else that has neuropathy. I've been
most people aren't your age. Most people our age don't have neuropathy.
That's true.
Yeah. But I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like it by hitting the thumbs up button down below. Also, you can share it with a friend or family member by hitting the share button. That's the little arrow at the bottom of the video. You might also want to subscribe to the channel. What you're going to do there is hit the little button at the bottom right side of the video. That way, when new content comes out, you'll be the first to know. Lastly, please comment. I'd love to hear your comments. I will read it and I will respond. Thank you and have a great day.